All right, let's do a quick little audio check. If anybody is actually watching, let me know if you hear me. One more check. Let's see if maybe I just wasn't being heard earlier. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. All right, guys, we're gonna get started in just a second here. I don't know about you guys, but I am excited for Brilliant Stars. Awesome. Okay, so we got some people hearing me. That's great. That means we can actually start. Alrighty, let's jump straight into it, shall we? Ah, that's not the right one. That's not it either. We're gonna get this right eventually, guys. Where did display go? Did I really lose my settings already? Sure did. Huh. Oh, it's because I resized this. Alrighty, we can fix this. Oops. Gonna fix this live, even though I did it earlier. So Brilliant Stars. We actually know quite a bit about this set already. Pokemon Company International has been pretty they've not been very quiet about the set. And I think a big part of the reason they've not been very quiet is because they realized that Fusion Strike has been pretty poorly received, to to put it nicely. Like, it's one of the few sets I've seen recently where there are still pre-orders up for everything pretty much. Like, yeah, maybe not on the Pokemon Company's website itself. Like, if you go to the Pokemon Center, it's not there, but a lot of companies do have pre-orders up for it still. And stuff like Evolving Skies, you didn't have it. Have I hit 100? Last I saw it was at 99. Let me get another subscriber. Well, hello. I guess we're gonna have to do a 100 subscriber special soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's gonna have to be fun, whatever we do. And thank you, Mango. Nice. Yay, 100 subs. Yeah, but Fusion Strike has not been especially well received, and I think a big part of that is the set is really heavy in the bulk department. I know Tor did a video lately where he was talking about the set, and it really is just Mew and bulk. Like, if it's not part of the Mew Fusion Strike deck, it's pretty much bulk. Yeah, there's Gengar, yeah, there's Inteleon, but there's just not much in this set, unfortunately. But Brilliant Stars is what we're here to talk about, and I'm excited about Brilliant Stars. I think you guys are too. Pokemon card sandwich? I don't think so. It has to be basic energy cards. I don't even know if I'd do that, honestly, because I just feel horrible. Like, I can't even deface basic energy cards. I know a lot of people, like, they'll do their lazy proxies and they'll just write the name of a card on an energy. Like, oh, this is an Arceus B Star. But I don't know. It's rough on me. I don't know. I don't know if it's just a sentimentality for Pokemon or what, but I can't destroy cards even when it's something like an energy card. Brilliant Stars, though. All right. So what do we know about this awesome set? Well, we actually know quite a bit. Like I was saying earlier, we know the names of all of the V Stars and all of the V Maxes in the set. There are going to be 4 Pokemon V Star. So it's going to be Shaman, right? Shaman V Star, Charizard V Star, Whimsicott V Star, and Arceus V Star. And we've seen 2 of those. We've seen Charizard and we've seen Arceus, and we'll look at them in a little bit. Although if you do look to the right of the screen, you will see Arceus V Star right now. It feels like something worth showing off in his set. And the Pokemon VMAX are going to be Kingler, Mimikyu, and Aggron. I know a lot of people are like, well, wasn't VMAX Climax supposed to be the end of Pokemon VMAX? And I think it actually still is. But Japan has a product called Start Deck 100, where it's basically 100 starter decks for their market. And in that, they're introducing some new Pokemon VMAX and new Pokemon V. And we're going to get those in our Brilliant Stars set. So Kingler, Mimikyu, and Aggron will be most likely from those, and I don't think there actually will be any whatsoever in Starburst. So Pokemon VMAX, I do think are on the way out, and that makes sense because the Pokemon VMAX mechanic in general, the TCG is supposed to mimic the Gigantamax or the Dynamax part of the Sword and Shield games, and with the TCG moving its focus to the Diamond and Pearl remakes and to Pokemon Legends Arceus, it just makes sense to move past the VMAX mechanic and move toward V-Star. Which is great, because V-Star as a mechanic is so much better than VMAX, but we'll also talk about that in a moment. Alright, so you guys can see here, this is the main set list that we have so far. We haven't seen all these cards, but we have seen a handful of them. So we're going to flip to the highlights from the set and talk about a few of these cards. Starting, I think, with the V-Stars. So let's start with Arceus. This was the very first card they revealed from the set. The first V-Star, rather, that they revealed from the set. So Trinity Nova, which is kind of reminiscent of a similar attack on Arceus and Dialga and Palkia GX. But I think this is slightly less broken. And I say slightly because of a special energy that we've seen. It says, search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. So that's just a regular attack, 200 damage, pretty decent. Actually fairly easy to power up now, because that's just 2 attachments. In fact, you can actually use Melanie and the Turbo Energy that I'll show here in just a second, and get it powered up in 1 turn, which is pretty nasty. And then, so Pokemon V-Star have this new, I say new, but it's only new in air quotes because it's not really new. It's basically GX, right? Except that V Star powers can be abilities too. So in Arceus' case, it is an ability called Starbirth. It says during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. That is amazing. That is a double computer search once a game, whenever you want it, as long as you have Arceus V Star out. That's insane. That's your boss. That's your Pokemon. That's your everything you could possibly want when you want it. And there's no discard requirement. It's just a once per game search effect. And because it is an ability, it doesn't say that it doesn't, or it doesn't say that it ends your turn. It doesn't end your turn, which means you can get that boss and then attack. You can get that boss and that switch into your attacker that's prepared, and just nuke them. Right? You can get what you need when you need it. This is like a almost like a replacement, if you will, for the Intelligent Engine, and I think it's going to see some decent play. Yes, the Intelligent Engine is much more versatile, but it's also a much larger package. So if you can use Arceus V Star and Crobat, for example, in place of the entire Intelligent Engine, you might get away with doing that just because of its flexibility with Starbirth. All right, so I talked about an energy card earlier, so let's go ahead and look at that real fast. So this is Double Turbo Energy. They've actually revealed this card already in English. So this is the actual English card that we're looking at. This says, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides double colorless energy. The attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 20 less damage to your opponent's Pokemon. So in the case of Arceus V Star, Trinity Nova will be doing 180, but you're still getting that attachment from the effect. Mango says, I think we're going to start slowing down VMAX. We've had 6 new VMAX from Fusion Strike and now 3 in the next. I doubt they get rid of them completely since we're still on Switchblock. I do actually think we are getting rid of them completely. I don't think they're continuing past... I don't think there are going to be any new ones past the Brilliant Stars set. Because like I said, I think the last 3 that we're getting in Brilliant Stars are just from Starter Deck 100, and I don't think there are actually going to be any in the Japanese Starbirth set. Because like I said, that mechanic is based on the Gigantamax and Dynamax from Sword and Shield. And we're leaving Sword and Shield's era behind in the TCG. So we're going to be focusing on V-Stars. The Pokemon V will stick around, right? Which is the Sword and Shield era mechanic. Kind of like Pokemon GX. But the V Maxes were the first 2 years, right? And V Stars will be the last year. Or last 2. We'll see how long it goes. It'll be like decent evolving V Maxes, right? Or decent evolving GXs, they're gone forever. Okay. So next we're going to look at Charizard B Star. So it's been too long since a Charizard, almost a whole month. Therefore, there needs to be a new Charizard. Charizard B Star is not too bad though. So explosive fire for fire colorless, 130 plus damage. If it's got any damage counters on it, does 100 more damage. So that could be 230 fairly easily, right? So that's fire energy, and you need. I mean, the tech the cost isn't amazing, but you could pull it off, right? So you can use to get it powered up. Let's just say you could use Marnie's Pride. So Marnie's Pride is a card that was revealed this morning. It's a attached basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Okay, so you could attach to a benched Charizard V Star. And then there is a new Stadium card. This is also an English reveal called Magma Basin. Once during each player's turn, that player may attach a fire energy card from their discard pile to one of their benched fire-type Pokemon. If a player attached any energy to a Pokemon this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So that is interesting, right? So you're attaching a fire energy for turn, you're attaching a fire energy from Magma Basin, you're attaching a fire energy from Marnie's Pride. That's 3 energy cards in one turn. And with that, you have the Charizard V Star fully powered up, ready to attack. Now you're only doing 230 damage, but you're also a 2-prizer. So your risk isn't as bad as if it were a Pokemon V Max. The biggest downside that I see with Charizard V Star is that Ice Rider, Calyrex V Max, and Suicune V are still running around in the format. I think Ice Rider in particular is going to do just fine, especially if Charizard tries to peek out, because Ice Rider has and commonly runs Path to the Peak. And Path to the Peak is quite effective against Mew VMAX, which of course is coming out in Fusion Strike. So whether or not Charizard actually sees any play, or if it's just going to be a new collector chase card, we'll have to see. I don't love this art. I do like the style of the art and the fact that it's coming out of the card, just like the Arceus. But I don't actually love the art. However, I do really like the art for the V, which I think is also worth looking at. It says Incinerate, 90 damage. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon, and Heat Blast for 180, Fire, 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 colorless. So probably not the most playable, but Incinerate is at least an interesting attack. If you were to be playing Charizard B Star, Incinerate may be useful to get rid of stuff like Weakness Policy in Expanded, or your opponent's Air Balloons in Standard. Okay, more fun stuff. Okay, here's another great one, right? We talked about the Magma Basin and how it attaches a fire energy from your discard pile. This is Kindler. This is not Welder, so no panicking. Welder is not back. But Kindler says you can only use this card if you discard a fire energy card from your hand. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck and put 2 of them into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. That's actually really good. It reminds me of... oh boy, what's the card? Is it Bill? Can't remember the name of the card now. Not Bill, but it's Bill's Analysis, I think is the card. So Bill's Analysis, if I'm not mistaken, pretty sure it's the right card. So Bill's Analysis will look at the top 7 and then put 2 trainer cards in your hand. Yeah, that reminds me of Bill's Analysis. So look at the top 7, put 2 trainer cards in your hand. This is different, right? You discard a fire energy card and you put 2 of any of those cards into your hand. So it's an interesting dig card that allows you to get a fire energy in the discard pile without nuking your entire hand. You have the flexibility of getting what you want from the top 7 without necessarily having to trash all of your resources. So maybe, and I'm hoping this is a maybe, they're being gentler on the discard effects for this format. And I think that is the case only because the best discard effect in the game is coming back in Brilliant Stars. I've made no secret that Ultra Ball is my favorite card in the game, and it is being reprinted in Brilliant Stars, which means it will become legal in the standard format again 2 weeks after Brilliant Stars releases. And that is just enough for me to love this set already. The rest of the stuff is amazing, but Ultra Ball is back. Now, some people are really panicking about Quick Ball and Ultra Ball being in the same format together. It's all good. I'm happy. Ultra Ball is back. That's all that matters. Ultra Ball, if you're not familiar with Ultra Ball, I know some of you have joined the game a little later. Discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. It is a universal search card for whichever Pokemon you need. It brings it straight to your hand. There is no requirement about it being a basic Pokemon, about it being an evolution Pokemon, about it being whatever. It doesn't force it to go straight to your hand. It's not limited by type. It's just search for what you need, and you have it. It's amazing. This can search out pieces of Pokemon V Union. Like Great Ball, it can see them in the deck to search them out. John asks, Quick Ball will rotate though, right? Yes, it will, but it won't rotate until late next year. So it's going to probably rotate August or September of next year, whereas Ultra Ball will be joining the format in early March. So there's going to be about a 6-month period where the two will be in standard format together. So decks, a lot of decks, maybe not necessarily all of them, but a lot of decks will switch to 4 Quick, 4 Ultra, or even just 4 Ultra. Like the only decks that won't abuse 4-4 are ones that can get away with just Quick Ball, or that only need Quick Ball and maybe a couple Ultra Balls, like decks that are almost entirely or are entirely basic Pokemon. Stuff like Zacian probably won't need Ultra Ball necessarily, but it might run a couple of copies just to have extra discard and extra search power. Because, I mean, anything to power up that Metal Saucer, right? But yeah. Level Ball decks, I mean, So you have decks that are running the Inteleon engine, and those are really the only level ball decks that are relevant at the moment, or at least that I can see. So I don't know necessarily they'll need it, but they may run it anyway. They might end up running it in place of Quick Ball, or at least in addition to it, like a split of it. It is interesting that we have as much search in the standard format as we do. I just really don't like Evolution Incense for the most part. Like, the only time I've liked Evo Incense is when it's been in an Inteleon engine deck, and so, because it's really universal at that point. But there have been a lot of times, especially in your opening hand, where you start an Evo Incense, and then you can't search for another basic, right? So you start let's say you start the Leafeon V, but you don't have any other basics, but you have an Evolution Incense. So yeah, at least in Leafeon's case, you could attach energy using greening cells and evolve next turn. But if they have KO on you, you're done. Yeah, so Inteleon engine will probably be the least likely to adopt Ultra Ball. So if you are running the Inteleon engine, you probably won't be running it, or you won't be running many of them, maybe 1 or 2 copies. Because the flexibility of Ultra Ball is what you're gonna want, right? So you being able to search it out, it's kind of like an energy search, in that you can get it when you need it, but you don't need to run it all the time. So it says, maybe Urshi could use Level Ball. I mean, you can search out the basic Pokemon, but you can't get the evolution. But Ultra Ball, it would be not bad. The one shift that I could see is decks maybe starting to run Pumpkaboo and Ultra Ball, and then focusing back more on the Crobat engine. So they'll be running counters to Path of the Peak, but running and focusing more on Crobat, because with Ultra Ball you're able to free your hand a little bit more and clear out your hand much faster to make better use of Crobat B's Dark Acid ability. Shinchino decks do make use of Level Ball, but they're also not seeing any play right now. So I don't know about Shinchino really mattering at the moment. I do like the Chinchino engine, but it's not seeing a ton of play. It has pretty much at all in this set, actually. Ultra Ball does make Crobat a lot better. Yeah, and I think that's why decks may switch to Ultra Ball and Crobat, just because it will free up so many deck spaces. So, like, yeah, they're at risk of being shut down by Path to Peak, but if they have counters to Path like Pumpkaboo, then yeah, it does make Ricketune better too. But if they have counters to Path to Peak, it's not as bad. So you run 4 copies of your preferred stadium and a couple of Pumpkaboo. Ultra Ball makes evolution decks and better. I think I can talk today. Ultra Ball makes evolution decks better in general, just because they're able to find what they need more often. They're not reliant on having the right search card at the right time when they can just find what they need. That's one of the things that died when Ultra Ball rotated, was anything that evolved. Now, to be fair, the designers of the card game haven't been very kind to evolving decks in general, unless they are a VMAX. So that's not entirely the fault of Ultra Ball rotating, but there was a pretty decent span of time where evolution decks, single prize evolution decks in particular, could have done something, but didn't, simply because they just never could find what they needed. Even stage 1 decks were struggling to find their stuff, let alone stage 2s. Stage 2 decks are completely non-viable at the moment. You don't focus on it at all. Like, even Decidueye is struggling, and Decidueye should be able to be fine. Yeah, actually, Lantern is pretty great for single strike decks, and I think they might actually see a little bit of play just because of Ultra Ball joining the format. Ultra Ball is Ultra Ball's great. I know I've been sitting here gushing over Ultra Ball for like 10 minutes, but it really is. It's my favorite card for a reason, right? It's the deck that, or it's the card that enables a lot of decks. It's the card that enables a lot of thought about what you could include. And because you're not so reliant on making sure you hit the right search card, you can get, smaller lines of cards in your deck and still hit the cards you need to use them. It doesn't mean necessarily you should, but you can. Let's hit some other cards real quick while we're here. Yes, that is not a mistake. You do see Crushing Hammer in the picture here. That is a revealed card, and as you can see in the zoomed in image, it does indeed have a F regulation block. So F in the chat, everybody, for Crushing Hammer being reprinted in Brilliant Stars. But it's okay. Hopefully we can go back to Crushing Hammer only being relevant in control decks and not being thrown into literally everything like it was during Darkness Ablaze and Vivid Vultures' formats. Do I think they'll continue with Battle Styles or end them with Fusion Strike? I've gone back and forth on that mentally. Currently, though, I actually think they are ending the Battle Styles for mechanics, which is a little disappointing because they've only just introduced the Fusion Strike mechanic. But then again, I don't know how much they could really add to it, given just how much support they gave to the mechanic in the Fusion Strike. But it does seem a little weird to just end it like that. I don't know. They haven't revealed anything that would indicate that they are continuing any of the 3 battle styles mechanics. So I think it's just going to be the E-blocks gimmick, basically. The battle styles or E-blocks gimmick. We'll see. I wouldn't be opposed to them continuing some battle styles Pokemon. I think it's a good mechanic. It's certainly better than just having vanilla VMAXs. But we'll see. Like I said, we don't know for sure at the moment. We haven't seen any Pokemon revealed from this set from Starbirth that would show there are more Battle Styles Pokemon coming. Now, there's a small chance we might get some from the Start Deck 100 cards. So if they do continue it in that, maybe we'll get a few in Starbirth. But more than likely, even if we get them there, we wouldn't get them after Starbirth. So we'll see. Another card we're going to look at is Blunder Policy, not Weakness Policy. I know some people mistakenly thought this was Weakness Policy. It is not. It is Blunder Policy. It is a new card. It says, if you flip any coins for an attack on the Pokemon this card is attached to and get tails, draw 3 cards at the end of your turn. So interesting. I think in decks like Maractus, this might actually be worth something, right? Because you're going to be getting a lot of tails. And even if you do a lot of damage, you're going to be getting some draw, which is not bad, right? You're going to be flipping tails inevitably on Maractus. So you might as well get some extra draw and get some extra attachments next turn off of the 3 cards that you've drawn. Even if you get Marnie, at least you've had a chance at drawing it, and you've wasted one of your opponent's Marnies. I can't believe they're printing more Pokemon VMAX, to be honest. I mean, they are, but they also aren't, right? They're putting a couple in the start decks because, they're starter decks and they're representative of the last 2 years in the TCG. But I do think that once those are out, that's it. So, and then like, let's look at the VMAX, right? Let's see, we got Kingler VMAX, right? They don't even have it listed under the highlights part of the player stuff. We have to look here at Poke Beach. This is Kingler VMAX Bubble Fall. Switch your deck for up to 5 water energy cards and attach your Pokemon in way you like and shuffle your deck. So that's actually not horrible, but it is a VMAX. You have to evolve into it. And then Max Pincer 240 does 30 damage to itself. So the effect of Bubble Fall isn't horrible. And if you're using a Vaporeon VMAX deck to get him out, maybe it's not the worst thing. But 5 water energy and you're having to evolve to get to it. Maybe play Frostmoth instead. Then it's a single prizer. And you can search it with Level Ball. I don't know. It's not horrible. It's not bulk like most of the cards, most of the chase, the ultra rare cards in Fusion Strike, but it's not amazing. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how Aggron is, and we'll have to see how. Oh gosh, what's the other VMAX? Aggron and Mimikyu. Mimikyu should be interesting at least. I love Mimikyu. Mango says, I have a feeling they'll reintroduce Prism Stars. I know they're gonna. The rumor is right now, at least, they're going to be reintroducing the Lost Zone. I don't know necessarily they'll do Prism Stars. They might do something similar. That said, though, if they did reintroduce Prism Stars, I would be 100% okay with that. I really like that whole mechanic, and I think it's a great thing to have in the game. But I think Prism Star cards themselves aren't the only thing that are great. I think just the Lost Zone in general is huge. Just having that permanent discard pile makes a pretty big difference. You know, see, you saw cards like Girafarig, even though it was primarily a control card, but you saw, you know, lost zoning energy cards in your opponent's discard pile, or lost zoning critical pieces in their discard pile, right? You force them to discard stuff and you lost them so they can't get back. Just little things like that that prevent them from getting at those resources, pretty big. And I'm glad the Lost Zone's probably coming back again. It probably, well, it won't be, and it will not be in Brilliant Stars. It'll probably be in our like August set, most likely, based on when the sets are lining up for Japan and America, and internationally, not America, international sets. Well, we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. Okay, let's look at some more of these guys. Zamazenta V, this is from Start Deck 100. This Royal Stance, you can use this ability once during your turn. If you do, your turn ends. Discard your hand and draw 5 cards. That is busted. It's going to compete with Zacian V for space, and I don't think every deck that would play Zacian will play the Zamazenta. But I do think some decks might actually benefit from Zamazenta V. Myself, in particular, I will be testing Zamazenta V in Mad Party. So when I start testing for Brilliant Stars, I will be testing Mad Party with Zamazenta V and Ultra Ball in standard format. And I do think that those two together will help a lot, especially because of Turbo. So even with that -20, right, that's a whole discard that you'd need extra. But even with that plus that -20, I think Mad Party has room to breathe again. It may not be a tier 1 deck, might not even be a tier 2 deck necessarily, but it has room to breathe. It can function as a deck again. Right now, it doesn't. It doesn't function. John says he's disappointed by the lack of N. We haven't seen all the trainer cards, right? So if you look at the list of cards here for there, it says it's supposed to have 22 trainer cards. So there are still 12 more chances for a card with N's effect, or with N in particular, to be reprinted. Will it be? Probably not, let's be honest. They just printed Judge. They may think that that's sufficient. But I'm hopeful. I do hope N comes back. I would love N to come back, but I don't know that it will. John says, I think Mad Party would benefit from the fire supporter. Kindler? You think I'd benefit from Kindler? I mean, they have to run fire energy to make use of that, though. Then they're not really discarding. Mango says, I'm disappointed by the lack of Yveltal. I mean, Yveltal's an Infusion Strike, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, Yveltal's Infusion Strike. So we'll have one in not Killer. Fire supporter. Which you're talking about the stadium card? You're talking about Magma Basin, John? Because Magma Basin only attaches to your fire type Pokemon, and there isn't a fire type Mad Party Pokemon yet. I say yet because they could print one, but they probably won't. Yveltal's had some really good cards. Yveltal's never. I mean, was it Yveltal GX? It had the one that had 3 damage counters on it. It's just knocked out. It was extremely good. Yeah, so Magma Base is not going to help Mad Party yet. Yeah, it's only Fire type Pokemon. Bench Fire type Pokemon at that. I think Mad Party can just make use of like four Twin Energy and 3 Turbo Energy, and I think that would probably be fine for Mad Party. And then you just run some discard stuff like Ultra Ball and Quick Ball, and you're okay. So you can run, yeah, and then even well, no, because you're not running flip, so yeah. Just say any extra draw and Mad Party's good, but you're not going to get anything off that because you're not flipping a coin. But yeah, okay, let's look at another card, shall we? Alchemy. Oh, it's all selected. Yay, let's see if we can deselect that, shall we? Why not? Let's refresh the page. We're gonna cheat. Okay, Alchemy. Alchemy is got some beautiful art. This is a card that's coming out in the VMAX Climax set in Japan. Alchemy says, as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your turn does not end when you play Cafe Master. So its attack Rainbow Flavor does 10 plus damage. This attack does 40 more damage for each type of basic energy attached to your Pokemon in play. Okay, so there are 8 types of basic energy, so 8 times 4, 320 damage, 330 with the base damage. That's not awful. And you would have access to both Twin Energy and to Double Turbo, so you have access to a decent number of attachments, but then again, you're having to run 8 double energies or 7 double energies plus a bunch of basic energy, so that's a pretty nasty hit to consistency. Not in love with it, but let's look at Cafe Master. So this is Cafe Master. This is also from VMAX Climax. Cafe Master says, choose up to 3 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a basic energy card and attach it to that Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. Your turn ends. So if you're not running that Alchemy, if it's not in the active spot, your turn ends when you use it. So, oof. All right. So your turn would end when you use it if you use Cafe Master, unless you have the Alchemy in the active spot. So 3 from the deck, not bad, but you're also having to make sure you have 3 bench Pokemon and or have an Alchemy in the active spot. Plus, I mean, you're pulling out some energy from your deck to help your consistency, but you could just, draw cards. So, Cafe Master is interesting. I don't know if I love the card, but it is interesting. It is definitely interesting. Mango says, yes, Yveltal GX and Oblivion Wing were good, but they all came out before I started playing. Yeah, and that's one of the sad things about those kinds of formats, right? Maybe Mango, what you need to do is when the vote comes up for this next month for December's alternate format, you need to vote for Dream, because Dream will be available again in this format or in this vote, because we now know that PTCG Live is being postponed until 2022. So December will have all of the formats available for the vote on alternate formats. So if you vote for Dream, you'll be able to use Yveltal GX. Marnie's Pride. Marnie's Pride is from the discard. I think, honestly, you might actually just run Raihan from Mad Party, because you're going to be knocked out constantly anyway. But since you have access, to the double color or to Twin Energy and to Double Turbo, I need Marnie's Pride. You need to be drawing cards and discarding cards as fast as possible with Mad Party. You're gonna run Crobat, you're gonna run Ultra Ball, you're gonna run Professor's Research. Yeah, it's being postponed. Yeah, I guess I'm not sad about it. I'm just disappointed. Like, I would really like for it to be out now and start testing for it. My lazy self isn't really ready for it. I've only just got my 125 sealed stuff up on my account as of a couple of days ago. I haven't traded for most of the stuff I need for Evolving Skies still. I need to trade a lot for what I need from the set. And then I'm going to have to trade for a bunch of stuff for Fusion Strike. So maybe it's for the best, at least for my transition. from one to the other. But yeah, it's really it really sucks because like you see this really beautiful thing dangle in front of your face, and it's like, oh, by the way, it's not ready. But then again, like there were some really rough edges in the video when they teased it. Like was it like times 30 for weakness or something that we saw it for? I think it was Zacian, right? So there were obviously rough edges in the video when they were teasing it, and I think it's good that they're holding off. I'm just worried that we're replacing one bad client for another. I don't want to believe that, especially since it's being so narrow at first. But it may not be amazing at first. It may be really, really rough around the edges. And I say, especially because they're releasing it in beta initially, it probably will be really, really rough around the edges. Oh. Yeah. John says, I assume Blunder Policy only draws 3 cards. So if Miraculous flips 4 tails, you can only draw 3. Yeah, so Blunder Policy would only draw 3 cards because it's if you flip A tails for an attack. So if you flip A tails, A tails is, yeah, draw 3. The only thing to point out about the wording of Blunder Policy, though, is it is not a choice. So if you do flip a tails for your attack with Blunder Policy attached, you are forced to draw those 3 cards. Which means that if you only have 3 cards in your deck, you draw those 3, and you start your next turn with no cards in your deck, you will lose. And it says, this is referring to PTCG Live. It'd be a lot better than something like Cyberpunk, where there were so many bugs and glitches. I'm also upset, but at least you can jump into an amazing experience. I would still tamper your expectations because, like I said, they are going to be starting in a beta, and I expect them to have quite a few bugs and glitches, especially with a brand new client like this. I expect they've probably been working on it since Team Up or Lost Thunder. They've probably been working on it for a while. But it's brand new client. This is not based on PTCGO. It's all fresh code. There will be bugs. There will probably be a lot of bugs at that. And I don't know how big their dev team is, but I expect it's probably not more than 2 or 3 people. So even if they're working on this full time, it's going to take them a while to get through the bugs. Because players are going to find bugs really fast. Really, really fast. And they're going to probably overwhelm the dev team for a few weeks. A lot of new players seeing it on mobile, checking it out, obviously bugs probably install. Yeah, that's true. But most of the people that install it right away aren't going to be people that will be joining it for the first time, right? Most of the people that are playing it for the beta on mobile will be people who expect it out now and are ready to download it as it drops. The people that download it casually and start joining in and maybe will play it later down the road, those are the people that are going to see it 6 months after it's out, 8 months after it's out. People who have been told by friends, hey, it's on mobile, you should check it out, that kind of thing. People aren't going to be jumping on it immediately with bugs, especially people who aren't already anticipating the client. The difference is hopefully the bugs will be addressed faster. I hope so too, but some bugs are persistent little bastards. They're really awful. I've done a little bit of development, and I've helped assisted with development on an application for Windows, and you can find bugs, and then some bugs, like one bug, will take 2 weeks to fix. And it's not that you're not working on it; it's just bad. Like maybe there's something where something was coded poorly, or it could just be something simple like having a hard time chasing the dang thing down. Obviously, if they're working on it full time, they'll have a little bit more chances to find it, and if there's more than one person, they'll find it faster. But I don't think switching development teams is going to just magically make everything a million times better, especially not with a brand new client. Do I think it will be better in 6 months than PTCGO? Almost certainly. There's very little doubt in my mind that it'll be a significant improvement. But right out of the gate, I think it's going to be pretty shaky. Especially with them having to postpone it. And what's bad too about them having to postpone it is people are going to expect it to be perfect when in beta because they don't understand what beta means. But they're gonna, because it was delayed, because the beta was delayed, they'll be like, "Whoa, you postponed it so that it would be perfect." But that's not what actually happened, right? They're postponing it so that it doesn't just trash everything, and so that it's functional enough to start testing. Alrighty. So we're going to be getting some other cards in this set, including Simisear V, Galarian Mr. Rime, and Dracovish. So Simisear here from the article from this morning's post on PokeBeach. This is an article by Water Pokemon Master. Simisear for a fire energy does bursting power, 20 damage. You may attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. That's actually not horrible. However, for Fire Double Colorless, Flare Fumble, 90 plus damage. His attack does 30 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So for a Fire Energy and for a Double Turbo, so it's 2 attachments, you could be doing 70 plus 30 for each, effectively. Not great, because it relies on your opponent having a lot of energy attached to them. Cards like this traditionally have not been that great. So, for Simisear. Galarian Mr. Rime. Magic Hands for single water energy. Search your deck for up to 3 item cards and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. Again, not horrible. Maybe interesting for control. I don't know that control cares, honestly, because it ends your turn. Special Crutch, 90 plus. This Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached to it. Does 90 more. It's water colorless. That's actually not bad because that tool could be Vitality Band, right? You can use Melanie. You can use Frostlass. You can get this powered up fairly easily. Not terrible. 180, 190 with Vitality Band. Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse. You have access to fusion stuff too, so you could be using the power tablet to boost its damage. Actually, Grand Mr. Rime for a bulk card, not that bad. Could be worse. I think this is probably up in Probably territory, where it probably won't ever see top play, but it could make a functional deck, one that could even see some wins. I don't hate it. You could even run Eliza Sparkle and attach Fusion Energy, and then I don't know. It's not bad. I've definitely seen worse. Dracovish V. Here we are. Dracovish V, Bite Crash. 60 plus damage before doing damage. Discard all Pokemon tool cards attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. If you discarded a Pokemon tool card in this way, this deck does 120 more damage. There's a lot of tool hatred in this set. A lot of tool hatred between, was it Charizard and now Dracovish? So that's 180 for Grass Water. 2 attachments, slap a Cape of Toughness on there to make them bulkier, 270. Grass, Water, 210s, can't use Dragon Strike next turn. I don't know. Those attack costs are kind of awkward. Could use Melanie to get the water energy on there and then just manually attach a grass energy. But then you're reliant on them having a tool attached, and they're not going to do that more than once. Or if they know the card, and people can read cards, that is a thing they can do. So, I don't know. Not loving Dracovish. Okie dokie. So, real quick, we're going to talk about the alternate art Pokemon in the set. So, it has been confirmed that the set will contain a special subset called the Trainer Gallery. So the assumption is, and I think this is correct, but we don't know for certain yet. We haven't been given confirmation. But the assumption is that the character rares and character secret rares from VMAX Climax will be the cards that make up the Trainer Gallery in our Brilliant Stars set. So far we have these 13 cards that have been revealed. There's going to be a total of 30 of them according to the press release, which is actually quite a few. But you can see here the arts for these cards are just incredible. If you're familiar with Cosmic Eclipse had the character arts in there as well for different characters. So it's stuff like Jasmine, right? Had her, was it Steelix, I think? Steelix. And, you had Red with Pikachu. Basically, you had exactly like this, right? Where you have trainers like Elisa and Flaffy with just really beautiful full art on the card. Now, unfortunately, the big downside to me is that this silver border that looks so nice on these cards is going to be a garish yellow on our international release. But we will get the cards, and they're just gorgeous. I mean, look at this. How do you not love that art? I mean, this to me, these character rares, what this tells me is that they can make amazing alternate art cards and scrap the rainbow rares, but they just haven't done it yet. I would 100% be in favor of them just axing all of the rainbows from every set, and heck, get rid of the regular full arts too. Just only have the regular art and the alternate arts, and that would be perfect, right? Perfect. These cards are gorgeous. They are very collectible. Uh, and some of them are even playable. So just why would you make the rainbow Pokemon, right? Just make them like this. You got, you know, these, like the ones we're looking at right now. They're not the V's that would normally have the rainbows, but there are a couple of them here in a moment that will in fact be Pokemon V's. Look at Eevee and Bill, right? Hooray group. That is a fantastic artwork for that card. Okay, here's a V, right? A V Max. Here you go. So this would be there is a Rainbow Pikachu V Max in Vivid Voltage. This would have been way the heck better. I would have much rather pulled this than a Rainbow Pikachu V Max. But you know, each their own. I know some people do like the rainbows, but I think they've long worn out their welcome and would like to see them retired. I think maybe rainbows would be more special if they were more like the gold cards from the Sun and Moon era, where they're just not very common and only a few cards get them. That would make them interesting. But as it stands now, with them having 10 to 15 rainbows in every set, it feels like I just nah. I don't know why they bothered to put them on the supporter Pokemon or supporters in Sword and Shield's block, but they did. Go back. You got Zamazenta V. That artwork is just so good. That is the Zamazenta, by the way, from Sword and Shield base set. This is not the new Zamazenta that would be coming out in our Brilliant Stars. This is the older one that walls VMAXs. And Blissey. So when you're playing Blissey on the ladder, especially if you're playing it in expanded, this is the correct art to use, and there will be no discussion about it. This is the one you play. Nurse Joy. Her face is just I love it. I think the only way I could like this card more is if that were Odd No instead. It's just that's such a pretty card. All right, so we've looked at the cards here. Sharon's Care, I think is the only one we haven't talked about on this list, and then we'll talk a little bit about we haven't talked about Pikachu either. That's both, but that's okay. We'll talk about it anyway. All right, let's talk about Sharon's Care real quick. Sharon's Care says put one of your colorless Pokemon in that has any damage counters on it, and all cards attached to it in your hand. So this is Acerola for colorless Pokemon. If you guys didn't play with Acerola, you're in for some fun. This card's going to make Togekiss and Arceus V Star. It's going to make them something else. This means that if you're not one-shotting them, you are going to have to try over until they run out of cards to heal with, basically. This is a busted card. Acerola was one of the best cards from Burning Shadows. Still is one of the best cards from Burning Shadows. And Transcare is right up there with it. It's more limited, which I think is a good thing. Acerola was very, very flexible. Maybe a little too flexible. But this card's great. Definitely will see play in a control archetype. I do believe Togekiss VMAX is going to be a menace because of this card. And because of the Turbo Energy. But yeah, this is a good card. I actually am very much looking forward to the full art of this, because this should be one that has a full art, since it's going to be releasing from the Starbreath set in Japan. The trainer cards that are coming out originally in Japan's Start Deck 100, like Marnie's Pride, I do not expect them to get full arts in our set. It doesn't mean they won't, but I don't expect it. Because typically, cards that release in those decks, cards that release in starter decks and stuff, products like that in Japan, typically they don't get the alternate rarities in our sets. All right. We're going to talk about Pikachu V real fast, and then we'll move on to the main list. Here. These are highly collectible Pokemon because Pikachu is highly collectible. I don't know who likes Pikachu that much. Honestly, I think he's one of the worst Pokemon, but you know what? Whatever. People like Pikachu, so that's fun. Pikachu, Lightning colors, Lightning Bomb, 100 damage. You may discard all lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 120 more damage. You can pair this with Flappy to do 220, and then have to start all over after your Pikachu gets knocked out anyway. So, not the worst, because your Pikachu's going to get knocked out the second it attacks, because only 190 HP. But you're also only doing 220 damage. Your price trade's probably, it's not going to be that good. Just not worth it. It's bulk. It's an art by 5-ban. So the art's not even that amazing, but and it's from a starter deck too, so yeah, it's just not good. Okay, so real quick before we wrap up the stream, let's look at the set list itself. We'll just quickly discuss the cards that we have not yet seen but expect to see. So Shaman V and V Star, we do know they're in the set. The English set reveal for it and the press release did discuss Shaman V Star. There doesn't have to be a Shaman V for there to be a Shaman V Star because Pokemon V Star evolved Pokemon V. I am expecting Shaman V Star to be a grass Pokemon. It could be a colorless Pokemon, but I expect it to be a grass Pokemon. Because with there only being 4 Pokemon V Star in the set, and with Arceus V Star being a colorless Pokemon, I would expect them to not have 2 Pokemon V Star that are both colorless in the same set. So, with that said, Shaman is most likely a grass type Pokemon. There also is going to be a Whimsicott V Star, which will most likely be a psychic type Pokemon in the set. So that will be fun. We brought up earlier Mimikyu VMAX and Aggron VMAX. And those will be coming from Start Deck 100, so we'll see what those look like when they are revealed. There will be a card based on Barry coming out in the Start Deck 100. So it's going to probably be like Marnie's Pride, and that it will be good situationally. Or it could be more like Hop, where it's just never played. We'll see. And we are also expecting a Full Art Adventurers Discovery. So that would theoretically be coming out of VMAX Climax. So if VMAX Climax releases the Full Art for Adventurers Discovery, then we should be most likely getting it in this set. I know when we were looking at the counts, it said that there will be 6 Full Art supporter cards. So most likely that's going to be 5 from Starbirth in Japan, and then the 1 from VMAX Climax. Now it could be just 4 from Starbirth, and then Cafe Master could also get it. So Cafe Master is in the VMAX Climax set too, so he could be getting a full art. So you'd have Cafe Master and Adventures Discovery on top of the 4 from Starbirth, but we don't know yet. All we know is that we're getting 6 total. And then Team Yell's Cheer is another card we're expecting, and that's also going to be from Start Deck 100. So a lot of these cards that are very flavor reminiscent of Sword and Shield still are going to be coming from the Start Decks. And then the cards that are more reminiscent of Diamond and Pearl and Arceus are going to be more in the they're going to be in Starbirth. They're going to be the dominant ones going forward. All right, is there anything else that we should look at that I'm missing? Does anybody have any thoughts before we wrap up? I think this set's really great, and we've only seen a very small part of it so far. Our main set's supposed to have 172 cards. We know, or think we know at least, 38 of them, and we've only seen maybe 2/3 of that. So that looks to be really good. Like I said, we're getting Ultra Ball for sure. If we get in, this will literally be the best set since Guardians Rising. Guardians Rising, at least for players, was an amazing set. When that rotated, people felt it. Okay, let's talk pre-release. Why not? So we're going to talk about pre-release. Actually, there is something interesting to talk about there, though. So pre-releases, we'll talk about Fusion Strike pre-release in just a moment. I did want to bring up something from Poke Guardian that Poke Guardian brought up. Poke Guardian pointed out that there is a change to the pre-release kits coming with Brilliant Star. So Brilliant Star is... Did they put it here? I don't think they did. Maybe they just put a comment in it. All right, let's do a lineup. So the current way that the Fusion Strike and before pre-release kits are constructed, you have 4 booster packs, 23 card evolution kit, and that's your kit, right? And that's true of Fusion Strike. But you'll notice the packaging has changed for the build and battle kits for Brilliant Stars. And it's actually fairly significantly different looking. They've redesigned the way it looks. Now, they pointed out something, and this is something that's really interesting, is this line right here, right? Build and battle boxes contain a 40 card ready to play deck. That's not a 23 card evolution kit. That's a 40 card ready to play deck. So that could be the energy cards, although and seeing a bit of information from Water Pokemon Master, it may not be, but you would expect those ready to play decks to contain energy. But I think what's happening is they're including energy in that 23 card evolution kit by default from here going forward. So when you're in your pre-release, you could just take your pre-constructed deck out of the package, sleeve it up, and be done with it, and just play with that. And that could actually not be bad, right? This could, however, also mean that the way these decks are built could change. So right now we have these, we have every pre-release kit has its promo card. It has a cluster of cards that are associated with that promo card, and then a cluster of cards associated with one of the other promos, plus some stuff to fill in the gaps, right? So if you have the Oricorio, right, from, actually let me pull up the page because that would be a little easier to visualize. So if you're in a Fusion Strike build and battle kit, right, you're going to see one of these 4 promos. So if you get the Oricorio promo, you get the Dreepy line, so Dreepy, Dragapult, and a Fog Crystal. That's the group you'd get. And let's say you get a Pyukumuku. So you get or you don't get Pyukumuku, you get the Pyukumuku line to go with it. So you get the promo, you get these cards, you also get these cards. You don't get the Pyukumuku. Pyukumuku's not part of that. You get the Shelmet, the Aselgor, the Level Ball, and the Fusion Strike Energy. And then you get some supplementary cards to fill in the gaps. So, this is, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 14, 15, 16. So 16 cards plus the promo 17 cards. You need 6 more cards out of the supplementary cards, and you have a full kit. Those would be your 23 cards. Cool. So that means another kit could be, let's say the promo is Latias. The Latias, you get your Latias, your Quick Ball, your Training Court, your Fusion Energy, and then your cluster is Oricorio. So you don't get the Oricorio itself, but you get the Dreepy, Dragapult, and Fog Crystal. And then you get whatever number of cards you need to fill in the gaps to make it a 23 card kit. So that could mean with these kits, the new kits, that these 40 card decks are the same thing, where it's just those 23 cards plus 17 energy cards. Or it could mean that they're changing how they plan to do these kits in general. Evolving Skies pre-release kits were horrible. They were really, really bad. And I think in part it's because they were limited in how they put those kits together. If they're making these 40 card ready to play decks, they may have better control over how they go together so that they don't necessarily have to have this setup where it's one cluster and another cluster. It could be, okay, well, you got Oricorio. There are 3 variations of the Oricorio deck, right? Which one did you get? Right. That could be much better than just getting a cluster, another cluster, and some filler cards. So we'll have to see how they go about. Putting these new ones together. It could just be the plus energy cards, but we'll see. That said, let's say you're going to Fusion Strike pre-release. You've got your kit. Let's say you're really lucky, like me. I don't know. My pre-release is tomorrow. We'll find out how lucky I am. But let's say you get your Oricorio kit and you're really happy about it, because I would be. Get your Oricorio kit, get your Pikamuka group, just like I want to get, and you get some really awesome supplementary cards. So, what do you? Okay, real quick. Nicholas says, do you think we'll still get packs in that? So the kit here does say that you're still going to get packs. So each build and battle kit still contains 4 Pokemon TCG Brilliant Stars booster packs. So the Battle Stadium has 2 build and battle packs plus 4 bonus packs as like extras in the middle. So it comes with a total of 12. So it's 4 for each kit plus 4 bonus. So with that, yes, for sure you will be getting packs in the new build and battle kits. So you're not just going to get a block of cards, because that's not interesting at all. There's no build in that. It's just battle at that point. So at least with the 4 packs, you do get to make some changes, which is what people do with the kits anyway, right? It'll just save them some time. All right, so let's say, again, like I was saying earlier, you get the Oricorio, you get the Pikamuku line, and that's your kit, right? So now you, based on your pulls, you're going to grab some cards from your packs and throw in some energy, right? So you're going to be building a deck with Dragapult and a Selgor. So Dragapult says, Fusion Strike Assault, this tech does 30 damage for each of your Fusion Strike in play. Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. That's not bad. With this kit, you also have Selgor, which is a Fusion Strike Pokemon, including its Prebo form. So Ninja Tornado does 120 damage. Serbi's translation is missing the text. That's basically, if a Selgor has come to the active spot this turn, the attack is used for a single grass energy. Not terrible, especially not in pre-release. So here's the cool thing, right? You can use Dragapult's attack to do some damage, and then if you would do more damage with a Selgor's attack, you would just free retreat into a Selgor and smash into him with Ninja Tornado. Always good to have a free retreater in pre-release. Did you have Nick? Did you have other questions about pre-release? I don't know if you've been to a pre-release just yet. I don't know if you got a chance to attend any before before COVID hit. Pre-releases are a lot of fun. Even unofficial pre-releases are super fun. Just sitting down and getting a chance to crack open some packs and just enjoy it. It's super casual. Pre-releases are very casual. You get people that are really just collectors showing up and wanting to see some cards, and they'll play, but only because they're forced to get the extra 2 packs. Yeah, I always try to have the build and battle stuff up before pre-releases start. My league hasn't, unfortunately. We've had the last couple of them, but we didn't have one for Rebel Clash. We didn't have one for Darkness Ablaze. Did we even have one for Vivid? I don't think we had one for Vivid either. We might have. I don't remember. But yeah, we skipped several. So Latios, you're primarily going to be attacking with Latios, actually. So you'd use the ability Red Assist and Blue Assist to power each other up, but you're basically going to be using. That's not the right card. Did I make the wrong card? Let me do this. So you're gonna power this guy up and do a bunch of damage, or you can spam some damage and get them attacking, right? So you do 70 damage and just constantly hit into them, but you're powering up quickly because you've Red Assist, Blue Assist. And then that kit, actually it's not that kit. The kit that comes with Elisa Sparkle is Deoxys. So if you want to get Latios, you really want the Deoxys group too, because then you can get Elisa Sparkle. You could use Elisa Sparkle to get the Fusion Strike energy from your deck, attach to Latios, use Red Assist and a manual attachment, and get it powered up immediately. Deoxys, I don't know how I feel about Deoxys in pre-release. I just don't know how I feel about Deoxys in general at the moment. I feel it's really limited by only having the 4 Fusion Strike energy in a deck. But at least with Deoxys, you know, you can attach. I know the Deoxys group has a Smeargle to recover the Fusion Strike energy, but with there only being 4 prizes in a pre-release, I don't know how much time you're actually going to get to use that. A cool card, but probably not one of the better ones in pre-release. Yukimuku is interesting though. Ditch it and draw a card. Yeah, being prepared is really good, and knowing what's in the kits is really beneficial, because then when you're deck building, you go, okay, well, these are my possibilities. What might I want to build around? What might I want to change if I do get this? And it makes it go faster. I know at pre-release, when I do pre-releases, generally I'm building my own deck in about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I help other people build theirs. Usually it's first-time players or kids. So I've got to be able to throw stuff together very, very quickly. And knowing what's in the kits really helps. Yeah, you're welcome, Nick. It's no problem. All right. With that, I think we're going to wrap up the stream today. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next week. I am not sure if there will be a stream next week. At least not a live, not a in-person stream. It might be PTCGO. We'll see. Maybe we'll start tinkering around with some of the cards from Fusion Strike this next week. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. But with that said, thanks guys again for tuning in. See you soon.